Ever noticed how most businesses don't make a ton of money? Think about it. Not many bring in $100,000 a year, and even fewer hit the $1 million mark. It's rare to find businesses making $10 million, let alone $15, $20, or $100 million. Why is that? Some think it's because making more money gets harder as the numbers go up. But guess what? It's actually the opposite. The bigger the goal, the more ways there are to make that much money. Imagine you have a lemonade stand. Some stands only make a little money, like $10 a day. But then there are stands that make $100 a day, and even fewer make $1,000 a day. It might seem like making more money is harder, but it's actually easier because you have more opportunities to make it. For example, to make $10 a day, you just need a few customers. But to make $100 a day, you might need to advertise or offer different flavors. And to make $1,000 a day, you could expand to selling other drinks or snacks. So, as your goal gets bigger, you have more ways to reach it. So, let's talk about some skills that can help businesses make millions. I've talked about personal skills that make millions before, but now it's all about business skills. Get ready to jot down some notes, because these skills can truly change your life if you put them into action. Let's dive into the first skill, product innovation. Now, why focus on product innovation specifically? Well, it's because there are essentially two types of businesses, those that sell services and those that sell products. Selling services ties your income to time because you need time to deliver the service, and time is limited, right? So, if you want to build wealth in business, you need to find a way to make money without being limited by time. That's where product innovation comes in. Consider running a tutoring service where you offer personalized lessons to students. You might spend several hours each day teaching individual students, earning $50 per hour. While this provides a steady income, your earning potential is limited by the number of hours you can work and the number of students you can accommodate. Now, let's imagine you develop an online course on a popular subject. Once created, you can sell this course to multiple students without increasing your time commitment significantly. For instance, you could sell 100 copies of your course in just a few clicks, generating $5,000 in revenue. This demonstrates how innovating products allows you to overcome the constraints of time and expand your earning opportunities exponentially. Let's talk more about how selling a product can help you make more money by disconnecting your income from time. When your income isn't tied to how much time you spend working, you have the potential to earn more. This is where product innovation comes into play. When you innovate a product, it's crucial to create something that the market wants, not just something you personally like. It's about understanding what the market needs or wants, even if they haven't realized it yet. That's why it can be helpful to do things like feasibility studies or market surveys. These tools help you understand what people are looking for and what problems they need solved. Instead of asking potential customers directly what products to create, we observe their needs and desires, then create products to meet those needs. So, when you're innovating a product, it should have three key qualities. First, it must be desirable. This means it's something the market wants, not just something you want to make. Many new entrepreneurs struggle with this concept because they focus on creating products they personally like rather than what the market actually desires. Let's illustrate this concept with a story about writing a book. Imagine you decide to write a memoir, detailing your life experiences from childhood to adulthood. While it might be meaningful to you, the truth is, not many people outside your immediate circle will be interested. Even your mom, who loves you unconditionally, might struggle to get through it because, let's be honest, she's already heard all your stories before. And they weren't exactly page-turners for her. Instead of focusing solely on your own narrative, consider writing a book that addresses a specific problem or fulfills a need in the market. This could be a self-help guide, a practical handbook, or an insightful analysis of a trending topic. The key is to offer something that people actively desire and find valuable. But what exactly makes a book valuable to others? Let's explore that further. First off, past experiences of feeling like something was missing create a desire for it in the present. For example, If you grew up without a certain technology or resource that you really wanted, you might prioritize getting it when you're older and have the means to do so. That's because you value it based on the void you experienced in the past. So, if you can identify a large group of people who share a similar past void and create something that fulfills that need for them, you can become successful and wealthy relatively quickly. Understanding this principle can help you create products that resonate with people and meet their needs in a meaningful way. So that's 1. Past perceived voids create present pursued values. Let's talk about another important concept. Present perceived virtues create present pursued values. What does that mean? Well, it's all about how we view something as good right now and how that influences our actions. Think about this. If you go to McAllister's on Boy Scout Boulevard in Tampa, the food is delicious and affordable, yet it's usually not packed. However, if you walk across the street to Eddie V's Prime Seafood, where a meal can cost $75 to $125 per plate, it's always bustling with people. Why? Because when something is seen as really good in the present moment, people will eagerly line up to experience it, even if it's pricey. Now, let's consider the third aspect, future pursued visions. Think about how much money people spend on college educations every year. They do this because they have a vision that with a degree, they'll land a high-paying job and live their dream life. But often, they realize later that it doesn't quite work out that way. They end up with a degree and hefty student loans, needing to find a job just to pay off their debt. So, to sum it up, for a product to be successful, it needs to be desirable. And these 3 factors, past perceived voids, present perceived virtues, and future pursued visions, can all contribute to creating value and making your offer or product desirable to consumers. Let's talk about the second aspect. It needs to be measurable. Have you ever talked to someone about their business, and even after they've explained it, you're still left scratching your head, not really understanding what they do? Yeah, that happens a lot. They might say things like, "We promote our esoteric consultation and articulate our super stop." But what does that even mean? So, what does measurable mean in this context? It means that when someone buys your product, something you've innovated and that people really want, there should be a clear, measurable difference between before they bought it and after. The promise of your product should have a clear starting point and a clear outcome, with a big gap in between. The bigger the transformation your product offers, the more value it holds, and the more you can charge for it. Okay, so to recap, your product needs to be desirable, measurable, and finally, stateable. What does stateable mean? It means you should be able to explain what your product does for people in just one sentence. A soundbite. Remember what Einstein said? If I can't explain a concept to an intelligent 12-year-old, I don't understand it. Makes sense, right? All right, let's dive into the second skill, revenue generation. This is a crucial skill to master in business, and it's actually easier than you might think. A lot of folks struggle with this because they don't enjoy selling. And hey, that's understandable. Selling isn't everyone's cup of tea. But here's the thing. When it comes down to it, there's only one alternative to selling, and that's buying.
Think about it this way. When you're buying something, you're handing over your money. But when you're selling, you're the one receiving that money. So if you're someone who hates selling and only likes to buy, it's going to be tough to get rich because you're not bringing in that money. Now me, I enjoy both buying and selling. I see it as a two-way street. And here's a little secret. Becoming a better buyer can actually make you better at generating revenue and selling in your business. It's all about understanding that everything reproduces after its own kind. So by honing your skills as a buyer, you'll naturally become more adept at generating revenue and making those sales in your business. When you're at the shoe store and the salesperson asks if they can help, but you brush them off saying, "No, I'm just looking," it reflects how you feel about sales. But here's the thing. If you don't like being treated that way when you're shopping, you're probably not going to be great at sales yourself. It's something you might not have thought about before. But because you're not comfortable being a good buyer, you might struggle to attract good buyers to your own business. Now let's get into revenue generation. It's not just about promoting your business, but that's a big part of it. Promotion includes advertising, which is either spending money to spread your message to a wide audience or using other methods to get the word out. If you're going to advertise, I suggest steering clear of generic brand awareness ads. Instead, focus on direct response advertising. What does that mean? It means you're paying for an ad that gets an immediate response from the people who see it. Ideally, that response is them buying something from you, and ideally, the sales from that ad cover the cost of running it. We call this a self-liquidating offer, SLO. Let's talk about the real purpose behind making a sale in business. It's not just about making money, it's about gaining a customer. When you acquire a customer, you're not just making a one-time sale, you're building a relationship that can lead to repeat purchases and loyalty. Think about it. How many of you have an iPhone? And how many of you also have an iPad or a Mac? That's because companies like Apple understand that they're not just selling products. They're acquiring customers who will keep coming back for more. Take Apple, for example. They've dominated the music industry because they focus on acquiring and wowing customers rather than just selling gadgets. They know that once they have a loyal customer, they can introduce them to new products and services. Now let's talk about advertising and branding. Advertising is a short-term strategy where you spend money on ads to generate immediate sales. But here's the thing. If your ad doesn't match what customers see when they land on your website, they'll get confused and leave. That's why it's crucial to maintain consistency in your messaging and branding across all platforms. Branding, on the other hand, is a long-term strategy. It's about building a strong, recognizable brand that customers trust and feel connected to over time. While it may take longer to see results with branding, the payoff in customer loyalty and brand recognition is worth it in the long run. Let's talk about something really fascinating. I believe one of the main reasons Elon Musk became the richest person in the world is because he tied his businesses to his personal brand. But what exactly is a brand? Well, think of it like this. A brand is a name that reminds you of a story. And if that story is really compelling, you'd be willing to pay to be a part of it. So why do people buy things? It's because they believe that adding someone else's story to their own will make them look better or elevate their status. For example, many real estate agents drive fancy cars like Mercedes to enhance their brand image. It's not just about the car itself. It's about what that brand represents and how it reflects on them. Even if they actually need the money, driving a luxury car makes clients think, oh, they're already successful. They don't need me, which can make them more likely to trust the agent. So branding is all about storytelling. A brand isn't just a name. It's the story behind that name. That's why the Bible says a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Names are powerful. They carry meaning and reputation. Think about Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Mercedes. These brands are all named after real people. And even brands like Louis Vuitton and Air Jordan carry the names of individuals who represent excellence and success. And guess what? We all do it. We're drawn to brands that tell a story we want to be a part of. So one of the most important goals for any business is to build a strong personal brand. Start today by crafting a name that represents who you are and what you do best. When people hear your name, they should think, that's the person who excels at XYZ and is the best in the world at ABC. It's all about creating a story that people want to be a part of. Let's tackle branding. It's something I used to underestimate. I used to think people only talked about branding because they struggled with sales. But as I grew older, I realized how wrong I was. Now let's talk about the often overlooked aspect of promotions, fulfillment. Fulfilling on the promises your brand makes is crucial for its success. Every time you sell something, you're building a reputation, either intentionally or accidentally. If you fail to deliver on your promises, you'll become known as someone who takes people's money without keeping their word. So fulfilling on your promises is key to shaping your brand's reputation in a positive direction. Now, on to revenue generation. We covered the A, that's the actual revenue. Now let's talk about the B, or marketing. Marketing is more than just advertising. It's about understanding your customers' desires and creating a desire for your product or service. Many people mistake marketing for simply providing information about their company or product, but it's actually about gathering information and understanding what drives people to want more of what you offer. It's both an art and a science, a way to tap into people's desires and make your brand irresistible to them. Let's break down marketing. It's like when I offer you something valuable, like a free checklist to help you avoid certain problems, in exchange for your name, email, and phone number. When you give me your info, that's marketing in action. Why? Because good marketing gives me control over our next interaction. And that's super important. See, with branding and advertising, I might not have control over what happens next. But with marketing, I'm gathering valuable information. I'm building my email list, my customer database, and once I have your info, I can reach out to you directly. I don't need to pay someone else to put me in front of their audience. Instead, I can just shoot you an email because you've already shown interest by giving me your contact details. Makes sense, right? That's the power of marketing. It's about building relationships and having direct access to your audience. Let's talk about selling, the final skill in revenue generation. Most people struggle with selling, and yep, I dotted that E again. Selling isn't just about pitching your product or service. It's about showing people the value of what you have to offer in a way that makes them excited to hand over their hard-earned cash. Here's the thing. You've got to be great at describing the payoff of what you're offering, not just the product itself. See, most folks who struggle with sales spend too much time talking about their product or their process, but nobody really cares about that. In fact, the more you talk about the nitty-gritty details, the more likely you are to talk people out of buying. Imagine if you went to the gym and the trainer said, "All right, here's the plan. We're going to push you until you feel like collapsing. Your muscles will ache for weeks, and every morning you'll wake up feeling like you've been hit by a truck." Not exactly motivating, right? People want the payoff, not the process. They want to know how your offer is going to transform their lives for the better. So stop selling your product, your process, or even yourself. Instead, focus on selling the transformation, the change your customer will experience when they use your product or service. Because at the end of the day, that's what people are really looking for. A solution to their pain that will bring them joy. That's what you should be talking about when you're selling. All right, let's dive into it. Right now, you might be feeling some pain. Maybe your bank account is giving you the stink eye every time you check it, or your bathroom scale is scolding you every time you step on it. But don't worry, I've got your back. I'm here to show you how to turn things around and start making more money. Imagine this. Instead of your bank account giving you grief, it's smiling at you because you've learned how to boost your income. And instead of your scale nagging you, it's cheering you on because you've learned how to get in shape. Now, I know scales don't actually clap, but you get the idea. It's all about describing the feeling of success your customers will experience when they use your product or service. For example, if you're a coach teaching people how to write books, you can show them how to sell hundreds of copies a month and make a solid income from it. Let me share a personal story to illustrate this. When I wanted to become a best-selling author, I invested a hefty sum, $188,000, to attend a seminar and learn the ropes. And you know what? It paid off. In my first week after publishing my book, I sold 900 copies, raking in $18,000. And now, even years later, I'm still making thousands of dollars a month from books I wrote ages ago. So selling is key. But wait, we're not done yet. We've covered product innovation and revenue generation. Now let's talk about the last skill, asset allocation. It's like picking the right colors for your painting. Asset allocation covers a few important things, starting with pricing. Pricing is crucial. Now here's where a lot of entrepreneurs stumble. They look at what their so-called competitors are charging and just copy their prices. Big mistake. I charge more than anyone who thinks they're my competition. I don't see them as competition. I see them as trying to keep up with me. So when it comes to pricing, set your own value. Don't let others dictate it. Next up, payment processing. You've got to make it easy for people to pay you. That means accepting credit cards. Seriously, if you're not taking credit cards, you're leaving money on the table. Most people prefer paying with plastic, so give them that option. And here's a pro tip. Set up automatic payments whenever possible. That way your customers don't have to remember to pay you every month. It happens automatically. To handle payments, you'll need a merchant account. There are lots of options out there. Stripe, NMI, you name it. Just make sure you're set up with a reliable payment processor to keep those transactions smooth. If you don't know me, I'll accept cash. However, I don't like PayPal, so that's a no-go. PayPal is not my preferred way of receiving payments. It's caused me too many headaches in the past. Trust me, you don't want PayPal as your main payment processor. They can be pretty ruthless. In my business, I've set a limit of $2,000 for credit card payments. Anything above that, I prefer wire transfers. Why? Well, there's this department in every payment company called risk management. They sometimes get suspicious if they see big amounts coming through. Also, there are some folks out there who aren't honest. They'll buy something with their credit card, then claim they never got it. I'm not taking that risk for large sums. Lastly, let's talk about payment collecting. If you're selling something and offering financing, like we do with our coaching program, it's smart to set clear payment terms. I never want payments to drag on longer than the program or product itself. Mastering these business skills can really boost your earnings. I hope this clears things up. Stay blessed and catch you in the next video.